Today I'll explain you about how to add checkboxes to a Java frame in AWT using VS Code. Now here you can see the image of checkbox. Now here we have two checkboxes. One is not selected, one is selected. So whenever you select a particular checkbox, you get a tick mark like this. Again you click, the image resemblance is like this. So here we go for on or off concept. Now we have a checkbox class in AWT package in order to create a checkbox. So a checkbox is a control that is used to turn an option on or off. So in the previous image I was showing, you have a button with a tick mark which is on, and you have a checkbox without a tick mark which is off. It consists of a small box that can either contain a check mark or not. So already I was showing the image. Small tick mark you are going to get when you click. There is a label associated with each checkbox that describes what option the box represents. So especially when you just see any web application, you get something like hobbies. Select your hobbies. There you have multiple things like reading, writing, okay, or playing or watching TV or so and so. So you have multiple options. So here the checkbox can work with multiple selection. So for near the every checkbox, you have some label, so that we need to know what is that particular checkbox purpose. You change the state of a checkbox by clicking on it. So once you want to select a checkbox, you click that, you get a tick mark. Again, you click it, it will be off. So whenever you want to change the status either on or off, you need to click the checkbox. So checkboxes can be used individually or as part of a group. So you can form checkboxes as a group, or you can use the checkboxes individually also. Now in order to create the checkboxes in AWT, we need to create the objects of checkbox class. So there is one of the predefined class existing in AWT package, that is java.awt package. We have a class called checkbox class. Now coming to the constructors of the checkbox class. Now the first constructor is the default, or we can call it as no argument constructor. Now this constructor creates a checkbox whose label is initially blank. So whenever you use this constructor, you get a square box which is nothing but a checkbox, but without any label beside it. So we can call it as initially the blank checkbox or empty checkbox. The state of the checkbox is unchecked initially. It is not having any tick mark. Okay, by default you are going to get an unchecked checkbox. Now here this is a second constructor, a checkbox with a string. Now here whatever you pass the string, that will be acting as a label. So the second form creates a checkbox whose label is specified by str reference variable. Now this str is a part of string. So here you need to specify what is the string you want to project beside your checkbox, which we call it as a label. Now the state of the checkbox is unchecked for the second constructor also. Now coming to the third constructor, we have two parameters. One is with the string, which is nothing but label, and here we have a boolean variable true or false. If you write true, the checkbox you are going to get with a tick mark. If you write false, you are going to get a checkbox without any tick mark. So the third form allows you to set the initial state of the checkbox. If this on parameter is true, the checkbox is initially checked. Otherwise, it is clear, that means it is unchecked. Now the value of on, this one on, determines the initial state of the checkbox. So whenever you are executing your program and by default you want to make some checkboxes to be on in the on state or the check state, you can write for those checkboxes as true. Now coming to the fourth and fifth constructor. Now here you can see a checkbox with a label and the boolean status true or false. By default you want to get a tick mark, you write true, otherwise false. And here we have one more parameter called checkbox group. Now this checkbox group purpose is to convert a checkbox to a radio button. That is the purpose of this checkbox group object we need to pass here, because we don't have any radio button class in AWT. So we need to convert a checkbox to a radio button. So how do you do that? So same checkbox constructor we are going to use, But here we need to pass the checkbox group object. Then only the checkbox will be converted into a radio button in AWT package. Now similarly, this checkbox, you can use this constructor also, where you have a string. The second parameter could be the checkbox group. Here in the above one, we have third constructor, third parameter, but here we have the second parameter. So you can interchange this boolean value with the checkbox group. So here second parameter checkbox group, third one is a boolean one. So either one you can use uh, for creating a checkbox, or you want to convert checkbox to a radio button. Now here the above two constructors create a checkbox whose label is specified by str. This one is for label. Then and whose group is specified by the checkbox group. If this checkbox is not part of a group, then checkbox group object must be null. Suppose you don't want to form this checkbox as one group. One group implies what? You want to create a radio button. So here this one we make it as null. When you write here null, it will be treated as a normal checkbox only. When you write here, instead of null, you write a checkbox group object, then all the checkboxes where you are passing this CBG object, that will be converted as a radio button. Now coming to the methods, so I've listed only few methods here. You have so many methods. Now here, let's suppose you have created a checkbox, and later on you want to set the state of the checkbox. That means you want a check mark or you want an uncheck mark. Suppose you have created a checkbox without any tick mark, unchecked. So you want to set the state now later on. So you can apply this method. This method sets that method set state. This method sets the state that is either on or off of a checkbox. Now here you can write once you create a checkbox, you have a checkbox object. You take that object dot set state and you write true. So when you write true, the checkbox, you are going to get a tick mark. Okay. Now if you want to retrieve the current status of a checkbox, that means it is checked or unchecked you want. So this method retrieves the current, that is get state method retrieves the current state of a checkbox. So here what it returns, here it is returning a boolean value true or false, because at the time of set state you are setting the boolean value. At the time of retrieving, your answer will be only boolean value. Suppose you are having a checkbox with a tick mark, that means it is true. So you write the checkbox object dot get state, it will return a boolean value. If it is a tick mark is applicable, you get true value. If the tick mark is not applicable, you get a false value. Now you have a set label method. That means if you have seen the constructor, the first constructor is without label. So you get only a small square box, and beside that label will not be available. So what you can do is, in that circumstances, you can apply set label method. So if you're using a constructor number 1, which is default constructor, later on you can take the checkbox object and write checkbox object dot set label, and you need to pass the string what you want to set as a label. So this method sets the label of a checkbox. Now you're set label, and here you're passing the string. The string will be shown on the screen. Now similarly, if you want to extract the label what is already there for a checkbox, then you can go for get label method. This method obtains the current label associated with a checkbox. So the syntax is get label method you are going to have, but it returns a string. So whatever you are setting here, that will be returned. Now I will show you the demonstration of adding checkboxes to a Java frame in AWT using the VS Code environment, that is Visual Studio Code environment. So for this, you need to open the Visual Studio Code environment. So you can type in your search bar the Visual Studio Code. So you need to have this software prior in your system. So just click that, and it is the environment for the Visual Studio Code, and you create one folder in order to execute your application. So here I already have one folder Java VS1. So earlier videos you can just check out for creating how to create a Java project folder, then you can do it. So as of now I'm having Java VS1. Just I click that, I'm having so many subfolders. So inside this I want to create one more. So I select the whole environment here, and here you have an option called new folder. new folder, and this is new file. I want to create one folder. You click this one and give the name. So here I'm giving Java VS 22 as a folder name. Then click that. You can see here Java VS 22, and just select that folder and right click and go for new file. And here you have an option for entering. So I'm giving checkbox demo as the .java. So now here you can type, like we need to import a package called java.awt.star. Then here public class checkbox demo. Then main method public static void main with string arguments. Now here you create a frame object, frame f equal to new frame, and here you can write the title like checkbox demo as a title. You can give any title. Then I'm setting the size of the frame. So I'm giving something like 400 by 300 as the width and height of the frame window where you can see the output. Then I'm creating a checkbox. So we have a checkbox class. As I said, I'm creating one object called C1 equal to new checkbox. Here I'm writing, maybe I'll write some color names like red. Okay. Then I need to add to the frame, or otherwise later on also you can add. It's up to you. So I'm creating one more checkbox, C2 equal to new checkbox. So I'm creating an empty. I'm not giving any label here. Later on I will set that. So second one is empty without any label. Checkbox will be displayed. Square box will be displayed but without label. So one more checkbox with I'm giving it as green. Okay. Now I want to add to the frame. So how to add? Okay, before that I'm setting the layout. F dot set layout of new flow layout. Flow layout. Okay. Now I'm going to add f dot add of C1. So you will get a square box with red. Then f dot add of C2. Then f dot add of C3. Okay, so these three things have been added. Finally, you need to have set visible of true. Okay, so here C1 you need to get a square box with red, or a checkbox with red. Here for this second one you get only square box without any label. Third one you get square box with a green. So I'm adding to the frame and I'm adding to the set visible to be true. Okay, and the layout is flow layout. I'm following for arranging your elements on screen. So I've saved that. You just run the program by using this button called run code and click. Now you get here this 400. This 400 is the width and 300 is the height of the window. Okay, 400 then 300. Now here if you can see we have, I can just drag this. Okay, here it is very small visibility. Okay, so here you can see one square box with red RED. I click that, you can get a small tick mark. Again, you click, it is off. So on and off. Now second one, you have a square box where I click the second one, but there is no label. Again, you click, there is off. Again, you click on, off, but there is no label because I have not added any label. Third one is green. You can click here and select. Okay. Now this, like this, you can add your checkboxes to the frame window. And here you can see the title, checkbox demo I have given. So whatever you are giving here, this one, checkbox demo, you are going to get here. Now for the second one, I want to add the label. I want to add the label for this, some color. So I close this. You can have a close here button, stop code, run, close that. Now after closing, here you can add, or here itself you can add, what is that, C2, no? So here you can add like f dot set label. You want to set, so I was saying one method in the presentation, you can see that method set label, and here I'll give something called blue. Any color you can give, that's up to you. Okay, f dot set label, not f dot, here C2 dot, not f1, C2, because for checkbox we're adding the label, right? C2 dot set label of blue. For this one I'm adding that, and then you add to the container. Okay, so before adding only you need to set the label, then you add to the frame. This one works. Now save the file and run. Now here you can see in the output the blue is added, the second one. Earlier it was not there. So you can see a tick mark and it's off again. So blue you have been added. So like this you can create multiple number of checkboxes. Okay, and later on you can set the labels for that if you're not setting initially. Okay, so in this way you need to add the checkbox components to the frame window. So I hope I've given some input on how to add checkboxes to the Java frame in AWT using the Visual Studio Code environment. If you like this video, please subscribe and share it to your friends. Thank you.